Headed Podcast here with Zoo and P. Bush. How you guys doing?
Oh man, it was a rough week for fantasy. A lot of injuries, dropping just donuts left and right. Man, this had to have been one of the lower scoring fantasy weeks, at least on football side.
Pat, I would like you thank you for your contribution to my team. Joe Mixon against the
You
Jets.
are welcome.
Money in the Bank. CD Lamb got me at 14 fantasy points. They have showed up. My new acquisitions, man. They've been doing work for me.
Yep, and I'm looking forward to McCaffrey coming back this coming week. So pairing him back up with Eckler should be nice. Let's just hope, fingers crossed, he's able to practice this week. So we'll see, man. But I'm hype on this Bulls team. So shifted my gears towards the NBA now as a Chicago sports fan.
The Bears lost, man.
Hey, Fields looked solid, though. Fields did look solid.
He had a hell of a
rushing
run.
yards.
That run was very Lamar Jackson-esque.
100 yards rushing, man.
Man, that defense.
Oh, horrible. It never clicks, man. It never clicks all at once. It's always something. So moving on to this Bulls team, man, 6-1 start, and I think we're going to be diving into that a bit today.
Yeah. We're going to save that for a little bit of later with some NBA surprises and disappointments so far. But we wanted to start off with the NFL trade deadline. It wasn't as blockbuster as, and I guess you could say if you go back in history, there's not a lot of blockbuster trades at the deadline per se with the NFL. But there are a couple of things that some teams did, most notably the Rams going all in. I don't even know. They may have 3 or 4 draft picks, maybe, coming up in this year's draft. They're kind of putting all their chips on their defensive side of the ball. So I wanted to ask the guys, what were some trades that were notable for them and maybe some teams that kind of could have made some trades to make their team better, but they didn't? And P. Bush, I'm going to start with you.
Well, man, I mean, I think this Von Miller trade, like you said, Sean, I mean, that's really the biggest blockbuster. I know Melvin Ingram got moved, to the Chiefs, who, my God, I think they need to make more than just one change on their defensive side to really turn that around. I know they squeaked out a win last night at Arrowhead against the Giants, but man, that Melvin Ingram trade, yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good move. They got him for a 6th rounder. I'd say that you can't really put too much weight on a 6th round pick. How many of those guys outside of, maybe a Tom Brady every 20 years or something like that comes down that far in the draft? But look, man, I mean, I think you do have to shout out the Rams, man. They are always willing to move draft picks to bolster, especially on that defensive side, man. That is a scary front with obviously Aaron Donald. We don't even need to speak anymore on him. Leonard Floyd's been solid, of course, since he left the Bears. He turned into a better player. And now they got Von Miller, man. I mean, he's dealt with injuries over the past couple of years, been in kind of a sorry situation since Peyton Manning left Denver. And now he's joining a team that has a legit shot this year with a good offense that hopefully doesn't put too much pressure on him to be a pure game breaker. So I think that addition was absolutely not crucial, but it can only help that defense with star-studded. But I kind of attribute that team to like the Brooklyn Nets, man. I mean, they're going all in right now and getting rid of almost all their future draft picks to the point where if they don't win a Super Bowl in the next, 2 to 3 years, that team is going to get blown up. They're going to have to pay Cooper Kupp, pay Robert Woods, etc. So they're going all in right now, and I don't think you can blame them. We're seeing, Brady had a little bit of an off game. Maybe there are some things that you can do to beat a team like that in the NFC. So, I do have to shout out the Rams. I mean, they're always willing to take risks. And I just think that's, Sean McVay's vision and dream, for that team. So not many notable trades, but a couple others that I think, could have happened. But Zoo, which one besides, I guess you probably can only say Von Miller was like the really only big trade. But
yeah,
what
man.
what about you, dude?
I didn't see a single offensive acquisition change, man.
I know.
Nope. You know me, man. I was looking for fantasy football potential stars, man.
Mm-hmm.
Going from bad teams, aka the Texans, to better teams. Oh my Lord, Allen Robinson, what a bust this year. But I was looking for, because I thought Brandon Cooks might get traded. Because you see the Texans just dumping our Mark Ingram. I guess that's a trade like Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram. Pretty much they get reunited, and Mark Ingram can still play. So good solid backup. He ain't relevant at all. But yeah. But like with the Rams though, you gotta go all in right now, man. Because with football right now, man, they're one of the 5 teams that can win a championship right now. Like one of the 5 best teams in football right now. So you got to go all in. Draft picks, man. Who gives a damn, man? If you increase your odds of winning a championship just by a couple percentage points, you go for it, man. LA Rams, man. Those LA fans, man. They got the Lakers, man. They want winning, man. They want winning. They want championship runs, man. They don't want to win a playoff series, man. Like winning a game, a wild card. Nah, they want to win a Super Bowl, man. So, my God, they go all in. Good for them. Von Miller, he was sad of leaving Denver. I don't know why, man. That's a depressing team to watch football-wise. Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know how that man keeps getting a job, man. That guy is so average and mediocre, man. He's so average and mediocre. Like, it is hard to watch Denver Bronco games, man. So glad he's out. He got a better chance of winning a championship. Like, he should be happy that he got moved on to such a good team. So I don't know, man. Von Miller, you should be happy, man. You increase your chance of winning a Super Bowl, and that's all you want right now.
Second one, yeah,
second one. I mean, he was the MVP in that first one too. So I mean, yeah, Zoo. I thought Brandon Cooks, a good fit would have actually him going back to New England. I thought maybe they might make some more moves, move some of their younger guys around to give Mac Jones, a legit number one wide receiver, especially having Brandon Cooks, he was on that Patriots team in the past, he knows Belichick. But, Allen Robinson too, Odell were a couple names, a couple other names that were thrown around.
Yeah.
I thought A-Rob to the Ravens would have been great to pair up with, Marquise with the deep ball. You got Andrews running down the middle of the field, and then you just got Allen Robinson running guaranteed 10-yard routes for Lamar to hit super easily, because that's kind of what they miss. Is I know that Sean, you're high on Rashad Bateman, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's his role, but we also got to see Lamar make those throws though, because I feel like he can only make them with Mark Andrews in the middle of the field. Yeah,
exactly. And then you think maybe Odell to the Packers was a pretty big rumor. To take some weight off of Devontae, obviously not too much attention, but at least give
Odell watch though, man.
Second, yeah, but dude, you can get him for so cheap. You can get him for so cheap.
Yeah, probably 5th, 6th rounder, maybe.
Yeah, he's just dropping everything now.
Yeah, but with Rodgers, I think he'd step his game up a little bit with a legitimate shot to win. That Packers team is coming high off of a big win against a previously undefeated team without their 2 top wide receivers.
That was crazy, man. That was impressive defensive performance, man. Limiting Kyler Murray, man.
Unbelievable.
My God, that was incredible.
They don't have the best corner either in Green Bay. So.
Yeah. And they took our pointers. We said that, they need to get Aaron Jones in the passing game. And he had 7 catches and led them in receiving.
Oh, I know. 20 fantasy points, man. Facing my franchise, Aaron Jones.
And A.J. Dillon stepped up and gave him about 80 rushing yards, which is really all you could ask him to do.
He's a good backup, man. He could really run the football between the tackles, man. He's really good.
Yeah, so I think to your point, Sean, like there's never that much movement, and I think a lot of people forget that in the NFL trade deadline. It's not like MLB or NBA in that sense, where teams are really, shifting for, playoff contention and all that. I just think a lot of these injuries throughout the year in the NFL has really affected a lot of teams to focus on like, oh crap, we need to trade for a backup running back right now to, have more of a safety net. I mean, like what are the Titans going to be doing now, with Derrick Henry out, so yeah, they're signing AP, which if that man comes back and does what he can, I mean, good for them. But look, man, there were some teams that I thought could have moved more.
I know, man. That dude 36 still playing football.
He needs to call up Frank Gore real quick, man. He needs to call up Frank Gore.
Frank Gore should get a call. I don't know. Did he retire? I think he retired.
I think he might have officially.
Yeah. Maybe a team would need him in the future. Maybe you can sign him as a free agent or whatever. I think AP, that's going to be interesting because I'm rooting that he doesn't come back, because I'm definitely trying to pick up that secondary back. I think it's McNichols.
McNichols,
yeah. I'm currently fighting on the waiver for him, so hopefully I can pick him up, not get him in an RB2. But I think for me, the one offensive piece that Zoo was kind of alluding to, like the offensive players not having any movement, I think with Odell, it's just I got to see him with another quarterback to think, okay, he's done for. I just need like another quarterback that's the caliber of Rodgers, Josh Allen, whoever, an elite quarterback that's not able to get him the ball. If I see him starting to decline, then it's like, okay, the Odell story's over, because he's had a lot of injuries. He's had a lot of situations where you could say he hasn't been able to get in sync with Baker, but I just think sometimes it's just not a good fit. And it's weird that when he hasn't played, which I don't believe in it,
they
but
win, man.
It's a lot of proof to show like they're a little bit better when he's not on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because Baker probably just zooms in on him a lot. So I would like to see him, like people you were saying with the Packers, just to see him opposite of Devontae, because I don't like the point spread went down crazy when they found out he had COVID. So it shows you how much they lean on him in the passing game. So I would like to see another
man. They
game-breaking
7-0
receiver.
without Devontae Adams, man. In their last 7 games without Devontae, they're 7-0.
Yeah, I guess that speaks more to Rodgers. So
True.
he's just a monster. So like you say, that kind of just gives my point to like I wonder how he would look with Odell. Like I wonder how it would be with as you could say with Rodgers. I don't know if he's ever had a elite receiver going down the field. Like I'm trying to
Jordy
think back
Nelson?
a lot of, I guess
Maybe
you could say,
Jordy.
yeah.
Jordy back
was
in the day.
in his heyday, yeah. But it's been a minute since he's had a receiver like that. So it would be pretty cool to see what it would be if he was like on the opposite side of Devontae and making plays. So but outside of that, yeah, there weren't a lot of moves that were going to be offensively done. Like I know you brought up Allen Robinson. Maybe he's going to get moved. I was thinking maybe Xavier Howard was going to get moved because the Dolphins are so bad. I just didn't know where he was going to go. But maybe to a contender. But yeah, during the middle of the season, there's not a lot of movement in the NFL. But like you say, it's for a lot of backups and people. Like if an injury happens, you can talk to somebody. So yeah.
And no Deshaun, man. I think that
Yeah.
that's been the rumor mill for God knows how long at this point. And I just think that teams probably, either had contact with the NFL themselves and, found out that even if he was traded, Goodell would not allow him to play or something like that. And, that's probably the most likely, outcome of why a lot of teams didn't decide to pull the trigger on this. But at the end of the day, it's just, he's in a tough spot, man. And I don't think the Texans really have much to leverage other than just his talent because his situation is just so grim at this point that, a lot of teams they're kind of poking him with a little pole from 10 feet away. Right. And it's like, hey, is this going to turn into anything in a year or two? And I just think it's so up in the air at this point that nobody really wanted to take that major risk. Especially Dolphins. I mean, that would have sent a pretty bad signal to Tua.
Yeah, so
I think
that would happen.
And then if they make that trade, and then Deshaun can't even play, it's like, so you really just traded for a guy that can't play over a guy, me right now. I know he's on IR, but it's like, come on. So I just feel like it's kind of a lost cause, the Deshaun story at this point.
I still don't understand what the Texans are doing because I know they have the leverage because they have him under contract, but
right. But other than that,
yeah, it's like because if you keep to me like okay, if it goes to the offseason, like Deshaun has a little bit of power because he has that no trade.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's either going to be the Texans are really going to sit on him from years to years, which I don't see. Because why would you just have an asset just sitting there which you can get something, get something for it, because they're not going to cut him. Like I say, I think if he didn't have that no trade clause, he would have been traded. I think he would have been traded somewhere because the Texans would have been like, okay, who's going to give us? And somebody would have been able, even though his case wouldn't have got settled. I think he would have got traded if he had that no trade clause. And like I said, it might be better for Deshaun because I know he's hell bent on going to Miami, but it's like there's probably some more situations depending on how the seasons go out, like that could be better for him football wise.
Yeah,
that would be a better situation in the future. Like Pittsburgh would be a prime example of that. Like I don't think Big Ben's coming back. Like if I would have to choose Pittsburgh or Miami, I'd choose Pittsburgh because they have a better track record and it's a cornerstone franchise.
Yeah,
I mean, state taxes, Miami, I get it. Like it's like I say, state tax. They got a couple guys, so I could see why he maybe wants to go there. But I don't know. We'll see with that. That's probably going to be a huge offseason topic. So we can talk about that
once again.
Yeah, at a later date because I don't think that's ending anytime soon. But we're going to try to pivot now to the NBA, and it's about I think 7 or 8 games deep for a lot of the teams in the league. And there's been a couple of surprises. There's been a couple of disappointments. I know people don't want to sound the alarms and they don't want to get too high because it still is the beginning of the season. But there are some interesting developments that have been going on in the NBA, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Zoo. Everybody that listens to this podcast should know where he's going with this. So go ahead, Tim. The floor is yours, man.
DeMar DeRozan, baby. Welcome to Chicago, baby. Man, this dude's a monster, man. He playing like an all-star right now. All-star starter, man. The dude's averaging over 26 a game. He's hitting 3-pointers now. He's shooting 40% from 3, man. He's taking more. That's one thing I like about DeMar. He's just attempting more threes because he's just getting wide open looks at 3 because he's not that good of a 3-point shooter. But, man, he's draining them right now, man. He gets to the free throw line a lot. Like, you see James Harden struggling to get to the free throw line. Trae Young with this flopping. DeMar DeRozan don't flop, man. He don't flop. Even Greg Popovich asked him to flop. He's like, man, I don't flop. I just attack the rim, man. DeMar DeRozan, man. Holy cow.
Legit.
What a steal, man. All it cost was a first-round pick? Man, people are crying about a first-round pick. We got an all-star. This dude is clutch in the fourth quarter, man. That ISO game, man, stop it, man. Dude, this ISO mid-range game, Kobe Bryant, man. Kobe Bryant. His mid-range game, he is one of the best mid-range games I've ever seen right now.
He is a good mid-range player.
And I feel like he's technically playing in the wrong era because I feel like he would be even more effective in eras in the past because of his athleticism and the guys just didn't shoot threes back then. So he's more of an old-school type player. But it looked like he adapted real well with Zach LaVine. I got 26 points here, 25 points over there. I get over 50 points for my wing position. Stop it, man.
Yeah.
Just stop it. That's so explosive, man. Stop.
Well,
my God. Only guy that needs to step up is Vooch, man. He needs to start making freaking layups, man. He started making those little jump hooks that you freaking missing every time. Like, good thing he's getting rebounds because without P-Dubs, man, like he's like our only true like guy that plays all our minutes. Like he's gonna be playing like 30 plus minutes every night because man, we got no bigs, but it don't matter, man. DeMar DeRozan, thank you for picking Chicago Bulls because I appreciate it and I feel like Zach LaVine appreciates it because hallelujah, we got 2 all-stars right now. If they were picking all-stars right now in the East, Bulls got 2.
Yeah, I mean it's still Zach's team, and I think that a lot of people are like, oh, whose team is this with DeMar putting up, what he put up 37 last night?
37, man. On efficiency, man.
Yeah. Woo! I mean, look, Zoo, I completely agree with you, especially on his confidence in threes, man. You see, he's not hesitating that much. And the only shot that I've seen him really hesitate on throughout this season was the game-winning shot against the Knicks.
Yeah, he pump faked.
He pump faked. He probably should have just gone up right there immediately. It's his bread and butter spot, about 18-foot jump shot fading away. Hesitated, but you could see he came back strong in that Celtics game. I know the team, they had a really hot start. I think they went 6 for 6 from 3 to start that game. And then they just went ice cold. But I do have to shout out. I know, Zoo, you're kind of talking about the starters, man. I really like the bench on this Bulls team, man. I think, Ayo Dosunmu coming in, giving big minutes.
He's good.
You got Troy Brown. Derrick Jones Jr. was earning late game minutes. Obviously, Caruso he's in the final lineup, man. He's there. Who knows I know, Zoo, I think you had said this a couple weeks ago that he'll likely be in that last 2-minute lineup. With
they're plus minus. They're plus minus. That's their best line with Caruso with the starters.
Exactly. And I think, if Patrick Williams was healthy, I think there might have been a bit more flip-flopping between them two being in and out of that final lineup. But now with, Patrick Williams out for, I believe it'll probably end up being just the regular season, hopefully, because Bulls will be making conference finals this year. He'll be
oh my God. You guys are on it tonight.
Bulls are back, baby. They back.
Oh, yeah. No, but to be serious though, I think that, the energy and the young guys that they have, Billy Donovan has really had every guy on this team buy in, man. Every single person. They're holding, I think before last night, I'm not sure how it affects it, but their defense was holding teams to under 99 a game. Especially the biggest win, I think, was against the Jazz. That comeback win last night against the Celtics was huge, but holding a pretty damn good. I know you guys don't always agree with me on that, but they are a damn good offensive team in Utah, and they can put up points. And holding that team to under 100 was pretty big, especially in this current day NBA. But yeah, man, I gotta love the Bulls. Another team in the East that's really stood out to me was the Wizards. Bradley Beal is not having, the same type of year he had last year. I think he's putting up, 24 a game on just 38% shooting.
Those free throws, man. He's getting exposed as a flopper, man. He's getting exposed as a guy that initiates the wrong way, non-basketball play, non-basketball plays.
But look, man, they got a couple of big role players back when, trading Russ over to the Lakers and making a couple other moves. I mean, they got Spencer Dinwiddie putting up 19 a game. Kuzma's averaging a double-double at 16 and 11. I know he's not shooting that great from the field, but I think he's over 35% from 3, which is really all you can ask him to do. And yeah, I mean, Montrezl Harrell's been huge for them. I mean, he's averaging about 19 a game on 57% shooting. So, they're 5-2. I think they're, middle of the pack playoffs right now. But like Sean said, we're 7 to 8 games in. I don't expect them to be holding that fifth slot throughout the entire year. But look, they have some solid guys now that can help Bradley Beal and take a little bit of pressure off so he doesn't have to put up 35 a game. So, shout out to the Wizards, man. I hope they hover around the playoffs, because watching Bradley Beal cook somebody is a damn good NBA performance, man.
Yo, you know what I hope, man? I hope the Wizards make the playoffs so then the Bulls can beat their ass, man.
Exactly.
They will destroy them. They will murder them. Bradley Beal ain't beating this Bulls team with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Come on now. Come on. Boston Celtics, the Atlanta fraudulent Hawks, man. I'm telling you, that year was a fluke, man. That year was a fluke.
Atlanta's doing pretty good. It's
very
like
packed,
I think top
right
4
now.
team. Yeah. I was looking at Cleveland play when they were playing the Lakers, and there was a close game, but Lakers ended up winning. And I thought to myself, I was like, I wonder if this is the year the East might be deeper than the West. The East has a lot of good teams this year.
It's been 2 decades, so it might be the time now. Because man, the West.
The West is top heavy, of course, but like it's not like
not even, man. The Clippers are injured. Clippers are injured, so
the Suns are slow right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Suns have kind of got a hangover from the championship. I think them and Milwaukee right now, I think if you look at standings, they're kind of like out. So I think they're just kind of start slow because they played in the finals last year. But I don't know, man. I was looking at the East. It's Orlando, even like Toronto is like in the playoff picture right now, even though it's early. Like they look really athletic and young.
Shout out to Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, he's looking like the rookie here. He looks nuts.
He
looks nuts.
He's aggressive. He's aggressive, man. Like I watched Scotty Barnes play. I'm like, why can't P Dubs do that, man? Pat Williams, like this dude coming off out of college, and this dude's aggressive, dropping 18, 20 points a game.
It's his mentality.
And then I see P Dubs just chilling in a corner.
Plus, Scotty has been a point his whole life. P Dub was more of he's a point forward maybe, but Scotty's been playing point his entire life. At Florida State, he played point.
And they just need more scoring out of him than the Bulls do out of P. Will. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, they're asking Scotty to do more.
Scotty's a dog, though. He's if you watch, like he's a super aggressive, talking shit. Like that's his thing. So I think that's just a mentality. He's just Pat. I mean, you guys know, you see him on the Bulls. He's a little bit more reserved. That ain't Scotty. He's winning Toronto. Like this is my team, and I'm gonna see. I see you, Fred VanVleet. I'm looking down at you. I'm taking the ball. I'm doing whatever. And like he kind of has to be a player too. Yeah. He has to be the player that has the ball in his hands too, because he's not the type of like, even though he's a wing body, he can't be in the corner because he can't really shoot yet, even though he has some decent shooting games, but he can't shoot yet. So he's got to have the ball in his hand where he can play make. So I think that's been a surprise for Toronto. I think another big surprise, and it's early, I have to keep making that disclaimer, but Boston looks awful. They have no direction. I feel like they need a point guard, and they don't have it.
They seem lost.
Yeah, they need like Dennis is, and the thing with Dennis is he's a point guard, but he's really a scoring point. He's not a setup, and that's what Boston has always needed. I love Marcus Smart, but he's there for defense. And a lot of these players have titles, but like if you watch their games, that's not what they are. Like they need a point, because you can tell with because I was watching that game last night, like. They needed, even though they missed a bunch of shots, like they needed a guard. Like after the Bulls when they started coming on a little bit of a run, they needed a timeout and a point guard to get them in a really good play to set up Jason or Jalen. I feel like a lot of that, what they do is 1-on-1 because Jason and Jalen are so superior in how they play. I just think that's their offense. And then you got Al Horford, who's kind of, I don't want to say he's washed, but he's Al Horford. And then you don't have any direction on that team. Like,
New coach.
Yeah.
That's
Brad Stevens, man. He saw the rosters. He's like,
he got up out of there. Yeah.
Let
me get a position that's maybe paying me slightly less, but I have no pressure, and I could maybe parlay that into another executive position somewhere else. So yeah, Brad Stevens got out of there quick. So that's kind of been really surprising. I'm like I say with the big teams like the Nets. I mean, I don't think Kyrie's coming back, but I think they may be fine. I've been steadfast on the Lakers. I think it's going to be a process because Russell is going to have to learn how to play without the ball. I really don't think that the Suns or Milwaukee are going to look this bad. If I had to pick out of the two, I may pick the Suns just because I don't think Giannis is going to miss the playoffs. But I'm telling you, in the East, bro, you got to be on your A game because Charlotte looks good. Atlanta's there. Philadelphia is still playing pretty decent without Ben. Like
Philly ain't scary at all, man. Bulls are gonna play them back to back butt whooping time, man. Bring on Joel Embiid. Bring him on.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Butt whooping.
I don't know about that.
Whooping, man. Joel Embiid is playing with a bunch of nobodies.
He's gonna eat Vucevic up.
Tobias Harris is injured, and I think Danny Green is like injured too. So he even lost two of his best role players.
Who's going to guard Embiid when Vooch needs a quick rest, though, man? I mean, it's going to be
Tony Bradley. Let's go. Tony Bradley. Tony Bradley.
I'd rather have Daniel Gafford.
Yeah, that clumsy looking dude, man. That dude looks so clumsy, man.
Tony Bradley. He got paid like he was better than Tony Bradley. Just put it that way. But
he got paid $40 million, man. We paid $1 million. This guy to play some defense. Let's go.
I just think the East this year is going to be interesting with just the depth. Because watching Cleveland, dude, Mobley's really freaking good. Like, he's 2 years away from being, like, the super big that can move around, dribble, get to the hole. Like, he's got a lot to his
Make
game.
him sound like Anthony Davis, huh?
He's skinny right now, but I watched that Lakers game, dude. He's just super. He's not like a – you know how James Wiseman had a lot of that hype with, you know, he's the guy coming away.
James Wiseman.
Is he hurt? I don't know if he's hurt right now or is he just
He's hurt. He's hurt, man.
No, but like, you know, they had him as like the big that's like the new modern big that can move around and dribble. But when I watched the games he was healthy last year, he didn't do that as much. Boy, with the Mobley's getting boards, like getting it off, dribbling up the court. Like it's so crazy that he plays well with Jared Allen. They're like the same size, but they're two totally different players. Completely. And then, like I said, Garland's pretty well. I think if I had to pick out of him now and Sexton, I would pick Garland. Like, if they were able to parlay a trade with Sexton at the trade deadline and get, like, another maybe wing or something, that would be nice. But it's just so many teams in the East, man. And I was just like, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting. Go ahead.
And you got to watch out for this Miami team, man, because I think they are legit. They got 3 20-point scorers right now, Zoo. Got Bam putting up 21 a game, Tyler Hero putting up 22, and Jimmy Butler's putting up 25. So you're called,
and Kyle Lowry's not playing well yet.
Yeah, and it's
Kyle Lowry trash, man.
Yeah,
you just say that because you don't like how
bro, dude, Kyle Lowry is getting paid over $30 million for his fat ass, $30 million. And the brother's averaging 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. And my point guard is getting paid $30 million, and he's giving me 8 points. Get your fat ass in the gym. 8 points.
Even me. He's looked like that and won a championship. So I don't know why you keep saying.
He's shooting 33% from the field, man. He 1 for 3. 1 for 3, man.
You want to talk about another point guard that's been overpaid heavily lately? Damian Lillard's been pretty 18 a game, 23% from 3, 30.
You know why, man? He's like, man, this Blazers team, I'm gonna be stuck here forever, man. I'm never gonna win a championship.
Like
he's in his feelings, man. He rapping about songs about his Achilles heel being loyal and stuff, and he's gonna be all sad. He's gonna be in the same room as Karl Malone and Charles Barkley, those all-time greats with no rings, and he can be real sad, man. Real sad.
Yeah. So I mean, look, man, we're 7-8 games in. Point guards, whatever position, some of these guys are going to get off the slow start. But I don't give a damn if you got 3 other players giving you about 70 a game. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous, especially with Tyler Hero. Talk about a pretty quick comeback season after struggling last year after the bubble. That post-bubble season.
He put on weight, man.
For him.
He put on
weight. He's got way more confidence now. I think they do have him coming off the bench at this point. And he's giving you 22 a game off the bench, man. I think he's a lock for the 6th man if he continues to play this way.
Duncan needs to step up for them too.
He does. Him and Kyle Lowry are the two that they need to step up. But there's been, I think the Heat and then I think the Warriors, man, they're getting a lot better production than people thought from players that were not expected. Jordan Poole, Damian Lee on the Warriors. You got Wiggins even giving you 16 a game. Those previous 2 guys giving you 14 a game, with Curry playing at an MVP type level at this point. And then you got Draymond giving you 9, 9, and 8, man. I mean, that's literally all you can ask for a guy that you run your offense through. He's giving you a near triple-double almost every single game. So, look, I think there's a lot of teams. I think we all had the Warriors a little bit more towards the bottom this year just with the whole Clay situation.
Yeah, with Clay.
But they're looking pretty damn good without him and their stud draft pick from a couple of years ago, James Wiseman.
But if I'm a Warriors fan, you got this MVP guy, And then you got Bob Myers making a new move by taking a big, which I said big suck in the modern NBA, man. You take the guy with the skill.
What draft was that?
The LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards draft. Anthony Edwards looking like an animal, man. This guy's a physical specimen, dropping 25 a game. And then you got LaMelo Ball being a true point guard, and he's a lot better scorer than a lot of people thought. So, man, if you're a Warriors guy and you're looking at Bob Myers, if I'm the owner of the Warriors, I'll be like, what the fuck? You drafted James Wiseman over LaMelo Ball. You could have paired LaMelo with Steph Curry and hopefully Klay Thompson. Stop it.
Yeah.
That fast break. Stop it. Showtime.
That would have been
stop it.
Definition of small
God.
ball.
That would have prolonged Steph's career by probably like.
And LaMelo could play the off guard position because he's 6'7", and the ability of their passing ability, their shooting ability, the creativity. Oh my God, the Warriors would have set themselves up. But Bob Myers, you gotta take an L, give some of your money back from your contract because you fucked up. That was a chance to like extend the dynasty. The Warriors dominate with KD. They got lucky with the freaking contract situation. Steph Curry making $11 million. You get KD. Whoop-de-doo. Anybody could have done that. But you had an opportunity.
He did.
To help this Warriors team be light years ahead. Man, light years ahead, my ass, man. You take James Wiseman.
You know what they said?
They're playing better without James Wiseman, man. This dude has not played a single game this year, and they've been flowing. They've been flowing small ball, man. Iguodala, he's still playing small ball.
I think the only way, and sorry to cut you off, Sean, but just real quick about James Wiseman. I think that if they do play him, I would actually move him in and out of the starting lineup based purely on the team that they're playing against on the nightly basis. Yeah. If they're playing the Jazz, I'm putting James Wiseman in there to put a body on Rudy Gobert and at least give you a chance to keep up with the rebounding differential. But Zoo, I agree with you. If on a nightly basis they're playing a smaller team, maybe they are playing the Hornets, for example, on a night, I'm not putting Wiseman in that lineup. But he has talent, but he has injury issues, and he doesn't fit that team, of course, better than LaMelo. However, I think there are certain uses for him to play. If they had to face Embiid, you can't put Draymond on Embiid. There's no way that you can. He's not going to, but at least Wiseman might make his job a little bit harder, scoring against the Warriors. I don't think they can do much, but look, man, I think there are a lot of teams that regret their draft picks. You could argue that New Orleans might be regretting taking Zion over Ja at this point. Ja's a monster, man. He is averaging 28 a game right now.
Not gonna lie. Zion looking like he's just drinking Mountain Dew all day.
Band-Aid.
Playing NBA 2K, drinking Mountain Dew and playing NBA 2K. Because that dude over 300 pounds.
You almost want to know if he's self-sabotaging himself so he can get out.
Maybe he's pulling a James Harden extra plus, man.
And you know who his Mountain Dew sponsor is with him? Come to Chicago, baby. How about pairing back up with Zach LaVine? They're doing that Mountain Dew commercial right now in campaigns. So, but look, man, I think that there's a lot of teams that at this point, I think Ja as an individual has surprised me a bit with his scoring ability. I thought he wouldn't really hit the 25 points per game.
The playoffs,
three-mans.
He gained confidence in the playoffs because he put up 30 and 8 in the playoffs against a good defensive team, and he's like, man, I could do that regular season. Ja, he was putting up 18 points a game.
He
leveled up, man. Oh yeah, in a one-game elimination game, pretty much a game 7 to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
outplayed Steph Curry. My God.
Yeah, so he's been an individual surprise. I think at the point guard position, he's been the biggest surprise for me positive wise, with the biggest downfall at point guard being Damian Lillard this year. Partially, I think it's his mentality, Zoo, like you said. But we're 7-8 games in. I think that those surprises are going to continue to change. But there's a lot of stuff going around. The East, like you said, Sean, is packed.
Yeah,
man. You got. I think the Hawks are the 9th, 10th seed. Bucks might be around the same, and they're right.
Bucks are 9. They're 11 seed right now. The Bucks. Bucks are 11,
and they're all hovering around 500, 3-4, 4-3. So we're going to continue to see movement. I think the Nets will obviously move up. The Hawks will move up. The Bucks will move up. I foresee the Raptors moving down a bit. I do think the Hornets will drop into the play-in situation. But man,
shout out to Miles Bridges.
I was just about to say that.
Shout out to Miles Bridges.
Trying to get paid.
He's trying to get paid. He bet on himself, man, and he actually knows how to bet on himself. Unlike our boy, what's his name, the point guard from LA, man. Was that Dennis
Schroeder.
Last year?
Yeah, Schroeder. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to see.
You got to know when to do it, man. You got to know when to do it and when to just take the money. So, Shout out Miles Bridges, man. They have a great young core out there in Charlotte.
Yeah, Bridges is the classic 3D athletic 3D guy that can shoot the threes, corner threes, shoot at the top of the key, athletic. He's I do like his chemistry with LaMelo, so I would advise to keep him. So I mean, if they have to get rid of some people, you just have to do that. But he's got really good chemistry with LaMelo, so yeah, he should be on there. We need to sign him list.
Man, and this is what guys like this guy do, man. LaMelo Ball, man, he's affecting other players, man. He's elevating these young talent. It's like Charlotte, man, they've been drafting young players for like an entire decade, man, because they've been missing the playoffs every year. Until they got LaMelo Ball, pieces started coming back together. Obviously, getting Gordon Hayward last year, that was huge because he actually he can still play when he's healthy. So he's actually he's a nice veteran guy, gets you 20 points a game, play good defense, smart player. So having him, Miles Bridges, like they're building a nice team. But just imagine if the Warriors took LaMelo Ball and they got James Wiseman. Do you know what the Charlotte Hornets would be? Dead last, man. They would be an embarrassment. Yeah. Imagine James Wiseman on that.
Because they didn't have you have to pair if you're drafting a big man, unless it's Joel Embiid or Jokic or something, first overall, they have to be able to score on their own. And Wiseman's not that kind of player. He's a true big man. That's why if they drafted Rudy Gobert first overall, it'd be the saddest thing in the world, or second overall, whatever you want.
They said that I was listening to some pre-draft stuff before, and they were saying LaMelo was angling himself to go to Charlotte. So when he was at the Golden State, I'm not sure about the workouts, but interviews, he wasn't engaged because
he wanted his own
Charlotte. Yeah, because he wanted his own team. He wanted to be like the man, which I'm not mad at because it's proven. He's proven hey. He keeps playing like he's playing. He has an outside chance of making an All-Star this year as a second-year player. So
yeah. If he makes it as a second-year player, that would be impressive at the guard position, which is loaded. It is a loaded position. So if he makes an All-Star, man, holy crap.
Yeah, and that's probably why the Warriors, they were like, hey, if he doesn't want to be here, man, we're not going to touch him. Yeah. And after Anthony Edwards and LaMelo,
I don't care. He could have cussed me out in the interview and said I don't want to come here, and I still would have drafted number 2.
I probably would have too.
Yeah. Because he's just too talented. He got a lot of people because they just got stuck on his whole he was in Australia stuff. But if you just look at skill set, it was
6'7" point guard, man. Yeah. I remember I was making a comparison to my man Luka Doncic. I called him I saw this prototype. I'm like, I was saying Luka, but he looking like it. He looking like that type of level of player right now, man. Because I just thought of this, man. LaMelo Ball or Ja Morant.
I'm taking Ball. Even though Ja,
that's tough.
Ja is definitely because of he's even improved his shot this year. It's because it don't even in terms of any type of athletic dunk, Ja is he's out here.
I think I'm taking Ja purely because you were talking about their team chemistry, right, and how their ability to make everybody better, man. He's doing that with veteran players buying into him as a second, third year guy. LaMelo's doing this with kind of guys around his own age. They're all kind of coming up, having fun together. Ja's kind of, he's playing with the Steven Adams who has championship experience, right? Jonas Valanciunas had championship experience when he had him last year. I think Ja's just a more mature player. And I don't know if I think that'll help him. I mean, I do think he needs to work on how aggressive he is in some plays because I think he could have injury issues if he continues to play this way. But he already is starting to
look like D Rose, man. You look like D Rose.
But Zoo, he's developing his jump shot way earlier than Rose did. And I think he's probably been told that by ownership, coaches, even more veteran guys hey, if you want to prolong your career, this is what you need to do. And he's doing it and he's actually executing on it. So, I think they're actually the most balanced team in the league, not star-wise, but they all just have great chemistry and there's no real other stud that they have besides Ja. They all just mesh really well together. And I think Ja is the reason for that. So I would take Ja, but LaMelo's
that's tough, right?
That's a really tough comparison.
2 up-and-coming, young superstar point guards who are they're good at different things. LaMelo is a better pure passer, but Ja Morant as an aggressive scorer, this dude's ridiculous. And ability to carry the Memphis Grizzlies. He made the Memphis Grizzlies relevant, man. He playing with a bunch of average players, making the playoffs in the West. Come on, man. I would go Ja Morant slightly over LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, just barely. But I think they're the two next. They're the next wave of point guards. They probably could both be all-stars.
I just think about only reason why I take LaMelo slightly because I think when it comes to playoffs, the bigger guy just always wins. Like when it gets later in playoffs, LaMelo's a point guard, but he's a bigger wing. So if LaMelo ends up developing because if you look at his older brothers, like he's gonna get bigger and stronger. Like if it comes playoff time, you're probably not gonna knock LaMelo off his spot. He's gonna be able to get to the rim a little bit easier. Ja is super athletic, but as they get age, like he's not like you say, P-Bush with his running around and his athletic ability and being reckless. But that could be a detriment come playoff time because if he gets hurt for a game or two, going up to the rim and being and dunking. And I think because LaMelo is just not as athletic as Ja, that may help him a little bit more because he's able to just not, be as reckless with his body. So I just think, in the playoffs, it's just as you see, like Giannis, perfect example. He's just the bigger, superior athlete. He's 6'11", can dribble a little bit, and he just won the playoffs. Like it's rare that the smaller guard wins. Like Steph Curry was the last one that did that, and I don't know who did that before Steph.
Probably
Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. So
exactly.
It's just tougher with a guy. With
AI was close. AI was close.
The AI was super close. Yeah, he got to the
and
final.
that would have been the most impressive of all those in my opinion.
Because that was against Kobe and Shaq,
and no other All-Star.
Pretty much. Yeah.
As a point guard, man. Oof.
That would have been super impressive. But yeah, we just want to get this NBA topics in. Like you say, it's not even been 10 games yet, but we're going to keep periodically checking around with the NBA and see what happens. Like you say, it's a lot of talent in the league. Cade had his start not too long ago. A couple of rookies showing
off to a rough start, man. He had a bad first game.
Yeah, I think that was he just didn't have any rhythm. He was good in the other aspects of passing and moving the ball around, but he didn't score at all. And the name of the game is scoring. So if you can't score, you're not going to be in this league doing a lot. So he's got to be able to do that impressively. But we're going to see.
Sean, I do have to I have to shout him out, man. Your Jets got to win this week, dude, against the Bengals.
With Mike White.
Hey, he looked good.
Man, I'm shocked, man. He lit up the Bengals defense. They're pretty good defense. He lit up. I was like, because I think the Bengals defense, man, they got me 1 point. I was like, what? The Jets? Freaking Michael Carter, Mike White?
I knew if Zoo didn't even mention it, I was like, that's right, because they actually won this week. So we got to give Sean some props there. Obviously.
You know what's going to be hilarious if I'm going to give him 2 more weeks. I'm not going to care what he does this week. But if he has, I don't know when Zach Wilson comes back, but if he has 2 more solid weeks, that is going to be a crazy controversy. Because I'm telling you right now, Saleh, because I think he's a defensive type of, he's not bringing Zach Wilson back. Like, we got to protect, unless it's from management. He's a defensive guy. He's just going to want to get the wins because he wants it to look good on his resume. So if Mike White comes in these next 2 weeks, and plays well, that's going to be crazy because then you could be looking at a situation where you got an asset in Wilson that could be sitting on the bench and not playing and, looking for trade partners, which, like I say, this is early. I don't think they would trade him, but he looked good in that game against the Bengals defense that's really good. So
and they picked him off twice, but, he still threw 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he threw for 37, 35?
He threw yards. 400, and he had almost an 80% completion percentage.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty damn good. It was over 70 for sure. But yeah, I mean, I thought he looked really good. And it was also hilarious to just see the Jets pumped up and on a game-winning drive. Their fans were going nuts. I was like, are we in the Matrix right now? I just couldn't believe it. So, hey, talk about a fall from grace by the Bengals coming off a huge win against the Ravens, and they lose to the third string on the Jets, man. Oh man,
so embarrassing.
That's just rough.
So
absolutely rough.
Right now.
But hey, man, they're out of the whole 1-win season. They have 2 wins now. Hopefully they can get a third down the road.
Facts. That'll be something that we're going to monitor the Jet season. They're kind of our that we pick on a little bit. And any Jet fans that end up watching this or whatever, it's not personal. It's just a thing that we do.
And we're happy for you.
Yeah. I really want to see the NFL season get into gear. It's going to start kicking up. Playoffs are not right around the corner, but they're there. We're going to start getting more clarity on these divisions, things like that. A lot of injuries happen in the league. We're going to talk about that as we keep going down. We didn't really get to touch on that today, but there's a lot of injuries, which is going to shift the NFC and AFC. So you guys just make sure you tune in to the Bullheaded Podcast coming out usually every Tuesday. Make sure you guys subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Anchor, the whole 9. Make sure you follow us on Bullheaded_pod on both Twitter, Instagram, things of that nature. We're on Facebook as well. We're going to be looking at different platforms, expanding in that. So you guys make sure you look out for that. And for me, Zoo and P-Bush, we're